pair bonding for true, like powerful union,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
And there's a whole bunch of distortions
Right.
that keep us from pair bonding.
Mhm.
Can you speak to the distortions?
Yeah, this is a really big one. This is a very personal one for me as to something I've just very recently gone through. And again, just a mirror to what is happening in the collective, because I also have been hearing from a lot of other women that they've been experiencing similar things to something I just navigated in my own personal process. And so there are a lot, first of all, I'll just say generally before I get to some of the specifics that there are lots and lots and lots of distortions that block pair bonding, which is really unfortunate because it's so powerful to have a truly healthy pair bonding, based union. It's very, very, it's so secure that both parties are able to thrive and flourish within that security system of like, it's like they create their own little world together. They're their own microcosm within the union, right? Like truly thriving couples have that. But to have that kind of healthy pair bonding, you have to have security. And this is challenging because we could say on a biological, primal, carnal base level, the masculine is designed to spread his seed. He's literally designed to spread his seed far and wide. The feminine is designed very differently. Like we're designed to receive the seed of one man and to create life from that, to birth his children into the world. And that kind of is a metaphor for lots of other things too. Like we are built to hormonally bond and bond emotionally on every level spiritually to the man that we're receiving. We're built to energetically receive him, spiritually receive him on every level when he penetrates us. So if a man is driven by this baseline carnal, primal, biological urge to spread his seed, but he's not connected those lower impulses to something higher in his connection to the divine, to God, to his higher consciousness, to, again, like a higher spiritual or moral discipline or compass, then this will look like lots of things. It will look like unfaithfulness. It will look like tendency towards polyamory. It will look like not honoring the sacredness of sex and what it actually is on a spiritual level, which then is devastating to the feminine, who on her deepest core level desires deep devotion and loyalty from the man who she's choosing to not only carry the life for, but take in and receive on every single level, like every single level, right? It's why we want a sense of security emotionally with a man. When we're bonding with him sexually, we're literally merging with him spiritually. And so there are a lot of things that distract men away from their capacity towards that higher spiritual moral discipline, so to speak. Like pornography is a big one. That is a huge distortion. That is a huge addiction for a lot of men, and it seems very benign, like, oh, this is just a bad habit, but it's actually way more than that. And it has been, again, something that's been intentionally designed to rob men of their life force and to sort of unplug them from certain aspects of their own consciousness and to become sort of a driving force of lust, addictive behaviors, lack of discipline, lack of motivation. Because again, when you can control a man's seed and his sexual urges, you can control all of him essentially. Because again, if he's not connected to something higher or beyond that, then he's going to be driven by those lower urges. And again, there's nothing wrong with primality or that carnal aspect, but it's meant to be in union and merged with the higher centers as well, with higher consciousness, with the divine. And so there are lots of other things that contribute to this massive sort of obstruction to pair bonding. Like there's a huge divorce rate, right? There's this a huge, like multiple generations of fatherless children or children of separated households that don't have both a healthy, strong mother and a healthy, strong father, which is also driven by the positive sex movement and like sexual empowerment, and the sexual empowerment of women having multiple partners in the casual sex culture is a big part of this. Because when we create a casual environment around sex, and we give free porn to men, and we lead women to believe that it's okay for them, so that it's not, we'll just say that there are no consequences to them having lots and lots and lots of sexual partners and to just giving themselves away to men sexually. Then you also have a lot of children that are born out of wedlock, that are born without healthy mothers and fathers to tend to them. They might just have a mother, just have a father, or whatever it might be. Then those children grow up with a lot of trauma, and that impacts their capacity to form healthy relationships and healthy pair bonding. So it's this massive like ripple effect where you can see the connections of casual sex culture, fatherlessness, addiction, substance abuse, pornography, like all these different pieces that have really hindered our capacity to pair bond. Because also, if we've had a lot of casual sex with lots of partners, over time that starts to wear down our ability to pair bond with one partner, because it's almost like our senses have been dulled and we've already given pieces of ourselves to lots of other people. And then it's harder to experience that deep soul level merging with one person at that point, because it's like our whole system has been desensitized and numbed out and dulled by all these different factors, right? And including and especially treating sex as something that is just this pleasure-based activity. I mean, of course, it's wonderful to experience pleasure, but sex is always so much more than that. And as soon as we create a culture that does not value that, and that just tosses that around, you have all kinds of issues that come from that. And one of the biggest ones is that it does destroy our ability to pair bond with one partner, because we want variety, we want texture, we want, for men, they want the stimulation that they get through porn. They want to feel that with their partner. And if they don't, they won't open their hearts to her and truly bond and merge with her in a way that allows them to go deeper with that particular partner. They're wanting to go wide and spread their seed to other women. And for women, it impacts us as well in a different but similar way. It's almost like, well, if I've emotionally, spiritually merged with all these men I've sexually merged with, now when I truly have a partner worthy of pair bonding with, I have all of this trauma and inability to open sexually to him, and an inability to surrender to him, an inability to trust him, because I've been, I've been kind of ravaged as a woman, so to speak. And like my resources have been used and abused by all these men. So now I'm not trusting a man who is right in front of me, who's deeply trustable. So I'm looking for the next bad boy or stimulating man to kind of soothe my traumas, instead of like a secure, stable, healthy, safe relationship foundation with a man who can actually provide a deeper security for me. My receptors might be so numbed and dulled at this point that I can't even experience that with a man, right? So I kind of just am on this cycle of like failed relationships or divorce or all these different things, right? Yeah. So it's a very pervasive issue that kind of has lots of different threads to it, but they're all very, very intrinsically connected to the same distortions.
Does birth control play into that? I was watching a documentary.
Absolutely.
What was it called? The Business of Birth Control.
Yes.
And it spoke about like how a woman on birth control will not go for an alpha male, like the pheromones. Yeah, is different than what she would go for off of birth control.
Well, birth control also, something that is a lesser known fact about it, is that birth control will also sever a woman's spiritual connection to her own womb. So she'll start to lose touch with the spiritual capacities that develop through her connection to her own womb. She'll start to disconnect from knowing that her womb is spiritual, it's not just physical. And she'll literally become numb to the higher senses that can be really accessed through our womb space as women. It's literally like our portal to the divine. So birth control is actually partially designed to disconnect us biologically and chemically from that capacity to connect in that way through our womb space, and to be really connected to our feminine core, so to speak, our feminine instincts. And that includes the instinct of which men are healthy for us to pair bond with. Because our womb actually will direct and guide us as women. If we're connected to her on a higher spiritual level, she will intrinsically really reveal to us which men are in alignment for us or not for pair bonding. She will literally reject men that are not a good match for us. But if she's been numbed and dulled and suppressed and she's been on birth control, so she's lost her rhythmic connection to nature, she won't, those sort of instinctual, intuitive, oracular capacities of the womb literally get shut off.
Wow. It's just so interesting. It was so eye-opening. That's so eye-opening what you've just shared there as well in that documentary of, it's just what we're supposed to do. You just go on birth control. So yeah, just the distortions and inversions of society at this time, which are really coming to the light, and people are really seeing clearly what has been going on.
Yes, absolutely.
For a long time.
I do see that. I see that happening. It's very encouraging.
It is. It's that hope and faith and trust, and like the light, so to speak, will win. The true unions will come back, and that new earth that we're all holding the vision for will be birthed. And it's encouraging.